We grew up in an Iran that nobody would ever dare say anything against Khamenei. And now we have the former president just coming in and line by line critiquing what Khamenei is saying and calling it insanity. Right? I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like, why is nobody killing these people? Like Hashemi Rafsanjani was killed for much less than this, right? And this guy is just like openly saying these things. Like we think like there's a, and they're telling, and then Pezeshkian, the president, came out and said that, oh, if they kill Khamenei, we will be over. Everything will be over if they just kill Khamenei. Like they would, and he came out and said, like, they don't have to do anything to the rest of us. They don't have to kill anybody else. Only if they just kill Khamenei, it will be all over. And like, is this a fucking invitation? Like, what the fuck are you? Like, it's almost as if the regime is signaling that, hey, all the fucking shit that we did was Khamenei, so just kill this motherfucker and the rest of us will behave. That's what I think. And the Iranian people are scared of this because their fear is that the regime is going to be able to maintain power by doing a rebranding. If they just get rid of Khamenei, they will stop being, they will stop bothering Israel, they will stop bothering Americans, and they will only be bothering us. Like the Iranian people are the only people who are going to be continuing the suffering. They will just stop bothering Israelis and Americans as long as they get to rule over Iranians. And we're thinking, okay, maybe we should keep Khamenei alive, okay, and Rouhani is the one who should go. Because if Khamenei dies and Rouhani or these other people are in power, this is a very effective rebranding. And we actually prefer Khamenei over Rouhani because at least Khamenei is saying the quiet part out loud and he's saying some crazy shit that makes the world against the Islamic Republic. Rouhani can sell the Islamic Republic to the world. And we're worried about that.
Doesn't it remind you of what I said about the Nazis? If they only took a couple of steps back, they would be much more dangerous.
Right.
If the Nazis had just stuck to like, oh, we want to eliminate all the Jews, and like, you know, any countries that just hands their Jews over to us, like, we won't bother you, we'll leave you alone.
No
There's
one would fight
no
them.
way. There's what?
No one would fight them.
Yeah, there's no way like all the Jews wouldn't have been killed.
Nah, but they would have still fought everyone.
Yeah, eventually they would have made much more damage, much longer. That's what I'm saying. When an evil shows itself as evil, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Exactly, Cat Lady. And we think we like Khamenei more than Rouhani because it's an evil that shows itself as evil. But Rouhani, we call him the purple.
Scares me so much.
Yeah, we called Rouhani the purple fox. Okay, that's what his name is for some fucking reason. But because he's so good, he's so like he doesn't look evil. He says the right things. And we think like we will lose you guys as allies. We will lose you guys, Israel, as allies, because as if the only reason why we are our interests are mutually aligned right now because we're both consider the Islamic Republic as an existential crisis, like as a enemy. But if the Islamic Republic stops bothering you guys, then you guys are not going to bother with the removing the Islamic Republic anymore, and we're just going to be all alone. that's what we're afraid of. So we're like we're trying to
So don't let them.
Yeah, maybe then we should become anti-Semitic so the Israelis come back.
People that the Jews are doing something over there.
Yeah.
So I think the main target should be Rouhani over Khamenei. Rouhani is the bigger danger for us right now.
Rouhani?
Yeah. We actually did a fake prayer session on our channel wishing long life for Khamenei, at least more than Rouhani. Because he's saying the right things to make the world against the Islamic Republic. Or like this is what we want the world to hear, not Rouhani's statement.
Right, a Mamdani type is more dangerous, definitely.
Right.
Yeah, like anti-Zionism is probably the most dangerous form of anti-Semitism right now because it's like socially.
No, I didn't mean this. I just meant the sneaky type.
But Samantha is saying that as well because she thinks that anti-Zionism is a sneaky version of anti-Semitism. That's what she's saying.
Oh yeah.
In a way, we're very lucky with Hamas. They could have laid low. They could have taken much longer.
Wait for the Iranian bomb.
They could have infiltrated more. They just went crazy. Thank God.
You can't show your cards too early in the game. And all of those examples.
I don't think so. I think they thought they're running out of time because of Abrahamic Accords. And also because of your new defense mechanism, that they saw two things that they thought that they're running out of time. One, the Abrahamic Accords, and two, your new laser defense system that you have. They thought with that they're not going to be able to get anything done. So they thought that they have to do their attack before those two things happen.
I never heard the connection to the laser thing. Why do you think so?
Because they thought that with this new laser defense, Israel is going to be able to stop all the rockets with such a low price, and they're not going to be able to get through. They were worried about that. Yeah. So they weren't that dumb. They were. Yeah, go on.
No, I was going to ask, just because Asi said, speaking of not showing your cards too early, a theory of mine is maybe that the 12-day war wasn't finished because it gives also an opportunity to, as I understand it, the Shah is also trying to kind of recruit people in Iran to see what maybe the next government might look like. It gives that opportunity instead of causing chaos to just sow seeds of doubt that the regime will fall soon. And that maybe that also buys time to kind of form the next government and everything.
I understand, but I think these are two moving parts that can move individually. I don't think that it needs to be connected.
But what happens to Hezbollah Shaitan if the Islamic Republic gets overthrown?
What?
Nickname for Hezbollah is Hezbollah Shaitan.
Hezbollah Shaitan. That's a cool name.
Hezbollah Shaitan.
Yeah, Hezbollah. Well, I think they're going to be much, much weaker with that. The financial support from the Islamic Republic, obviously, the financial and military support and everything.
Probably beg Qatar for more money than no.
This is why Hezbollah is trying to diversify its source of income by going into Latin America and getting involved more with the drug trade. Yeah. They're trying to find alternative sources of income from the Islamic Republic. And they're also they're going global. Like they're not just going to be in Lebanon. They're going to be an international, present everywhere, brand of. And Israel. So Israel is not like United States, right? United States can, if they really want to, they could go wherever in the world and basically take out their enemies, but with assassinations, but not with military presence and fighting people like United States might want to do with Venezuela, for example. Israel cannot do that.
We're not built for trench warfare.
Yes, exactly. So imagine if Hezbollah becomes international and they just become a global brand and they're making money from drug trade in Latin America. Israel cannot go it's not going to be able to go there and hunt them down.
But the same way that I'm not afraid of them shooting rockets from Venezuela at Israel. That's all the way in Venezuela.
No. Middle East to buy, so that you should be worried about it because they could, whatever money they could make there, they could just wire transfer, they could just send it with, I don't know, Bitcoin or Monero immediately back to the Middle East to spend on weaponry against Israelis. So you should.
But they're already doing it. You're describing what they're already doing for decades.
Yep. But they're expanding it now. They're expanding it.
Right.
And don't forget that they attacked Argentina in the 90s.
But you guys are talking about specific examples of terrorist organizations. I'm talking about a much more established network of involvement in drug trade
and cars.
Right? So this is because So for example, Venezuela gave Hezbollah members passports to be able to use Venezuelan passports all over Latin America, so they could do their drug trade. Right.
Yeah,
so now
they do it with Los Zetas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. But you guys. But you guys, you need to keep in mind that Hezbollah suffered a great blow, and they don't have extra experienced members right now. It's something that they're lacking. So when you need to separate your command into two continents, and basically your enemy, Israel, is breathing in your neck, there's also a chance that, yes, you're making money over there in Latin America, but if we kill all of your connections in here and we leave just a couple of Lebanese and insignificant Hezbollah members, what would they do?
I just wanted to add that I read somewhere that some estimate that at the time, Assad and Hezbollah were the largest drug cartel in the world.
Yeah.
Some estimate, whatever that means, but gives you an idea.
This is not going to go away, unfortunately. Like as impressive as Israeli operations were, it's like a virus. It's like, you know, when you do chemotherapy, okay, and they tell you it was very effective, and then a few days down the line you go do a test and we're like, oh my god, we found some cells somewhere else and it's coming back. Like it's kind of like that. Like even if you took out the tumor, it was really effective. The tumor is out, but it only takes a few other cells to just make it all of a sudden grow in a different part, and it could be fatal again.
I wish the West would stop being a bunch of pussies, though. It's like Charlie Hebdo, remember that? What did they do? People put a few Facebook pictures on their profile and nothing happened. Nothing changed. They got worse, if anything. You know,
of course.
Like,
I mean, the West stops us instead of helping us. It only helps us defend, but it never helps us deal with the problem. Because
what would you do if you were the West? If you were one of these Western countries, what would you do?
Support people who are for democracy, for good relationship with the West, and for peace in the region, whoever they are. That's what they should do instead of being double-faced and not clear and all this nonsense. The West is the cause of the problem today. If the West was cleared, Hamas would have not attacked us in the first place because they would know there was nothing to achieve.
I think if the West treated Islamism the same way that they treated communism, you know, this would be over by now, right?
Well, like at least it will be under control. Yes.
Why are they not treating it like that? Like, because when communism was a threat, like the United States and the West was taking, like, they were not kidding around. They were supporting even the most evil tyrants. As long as they were anti-communist, they would kill, they would like they were both military on a military and with proxies, ideological battle.
Easy.
Easy
answer. The Russians were white, so they
that's literally what I was going to say. Yes, and
yeah, simple.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, and they were like conquering lands also, right? Like the entire Eastern Bloc of Europe was like also communists, and they were spreading also in the Vietnam and Korea and everything. I mean, there was a lot of proxy wars going on, but now you have the empathetic West you can call them racist if you say anything Islamophobic. I mean, we all know that fake word of Islamophobia, and it just gets thrown around. Like woke culture, I think, is a big part of it.
Because the communists come up with the word comophobia.
One by one, you guys. One by one.
Which one?
Samantha. Well, let's go with Samantha and then Mossad.
Because the communists didn't come up with the term comophobia.
Tap your mic.
Yeah, I think it was an internet issue more than a mic issue.
Because the communists didn't come up with the term. Because the communists didn't come up with the term comophobia.
Because they didn't come up with the term.
The Soviets gave us the PLO, really. It's their creation. They wrote the manifest. Abbas was educated, or whatever you want to call it, in Moscow. You know, their influence is all over the place. I think you could say that Yom Kippur was caused by the Soviets.
Where does that come from? Because the West wasn't always this pathetic when it comes to like we shouldn't be racist to these people. That came from the trauma of World War II, and people didn't want to.
Edward Said came to a West that is already open to his ideas, and they took them and made them even worse than him. Yeah, the BBC loved him, all the left-leaning channels, mainstream, they made him into a hero, they made him look like some kind of model almost. You know, he would be posing and for photos with famous photographers, and he's like a mini celeb they made out of him.
But that's just one guy. I think
he was charismatic.
He's an important guy in this picture.
Yeah, but I think he's not the cause. I think the main cause was the trauma the world had over what Hitler did.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes. That's partly that, but also because they live in peace in the West, especially in America, you become weaker when you know everything is easy. So, you know, Israelis are not allowed to get too weak.
Japan is a first world country. They don't fuck around with like mass migration or.
It's a different mentality.
They're different mentality. They were always isolationists. They would kill anyone who lands on their island.
The Mongols got there, and then they saw a bunch of trained freaking people who beat them. They beat the Mongols out of Japan.
They had the sharpest sword in the world.
So yeah, we have a list. We gathered some people. You finish what you were going to say, and
no, I just want to say the Japanese themselves were on the wrong side of World War II. Maybe that's why they don't have trauma over. Maybe that's another reason why they didn't have.
But they were defeated, and they had like an American constitution. It's all, and I don't really understand enough about Japan to understand why they're the way they are. But I know they're accepting immigrants more than ever, right?
Because they don't have babies also. But let's move to the list. Cat lady.
Yes, I have a question. I was wondering, we seem to feel like it was always here Islamic terrorism, but actually the form of terrorism that we see today is, I think, from the 60s or something like that. So in my understanding, jihad in the previous centuries was more when a ruler declared a war or some cause, and you had to be in this official cause. How, and especially why, did it change to this form of jihad where you go and blow yourself or something like that?
Don't you need a caliph for that? Don't you need a caliph?
Exactly, but it changed.
Exactly.
So why? What happened?
Sykes-Picot broke it into nation states, and our world was not ready for nation states.
Yeah, so there is this great humiliation, but is it enough?
It depends on when. I mean, this always happens. If you have the power, if you have a military, you fight by sending your military, and if you don't, you do guerrilla warfare. You do assassinations. You do. I mean, even back then, I think it was the Ismailis, the Hashemites. I mean, the word assassin comes from even back then from the people, Muslims, who would send somebody to kill a caliph. Sorry about that. So
yeah,
what
they
it
were
did,
smokers apparently.
Let him finish.
No, but they would send somebody. They would send somebody on a suicide mission because they were trained on how to go kill their target, but not on how to get out. So
but was
even
it
back
civilian
then,
or like specific person?
I mean, they didn't have bombs, so they would what would be the point of killing one or two civilians with a sword and a knife? The effectiveness of killing civilians only makes sense when you have like machine guns and bombs to send a message, or else it wouldn't, like, it's not strategically advantageous to just go with a knife and just kill random civilians. Yeah, but I'm just saying suicide attacks were in Islam. We did have that, but not with like a bomb, by just going in on a suicide mission, not being able to come back.
So different, but more similar.
If you're going to assassinate somebody knowing that you're going to die, it's kind of the same.
Also, it's written that you should terrorize your enemy because that will be a shorter war because your enemy will be afraid and give up. And
Yep.
this is also
I've
was
seen it
used
before.
by other armies, not just the Arabs. This tactic, terrorize the enemy. I forget who used to do it in Europe, but he would kill everyone and put their heads in a big pile and leave. And then everybody would see that is what is to be done. So they most surrendered.